This week on the Spike and Jones podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Spike and Jones podcast. This week, episode 29, the podcast that does nothing. You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Spike and Jones.
I hate music that is overbearing and kind of forces itself on people.
Yeah.
That's I want to decide that I like music, not be just affronted, by it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really? I love to be assaulted by music. I think I'm
don't.
a big fan of antagonism in general.
Are you?
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day. Well, lately with what's going on, not so much with Kumi, but just I don't know, everything that's going on in the government lately.
You know, if it was the Clooney hearings, more women would watch.
Did I say Clooney just
No,
now?
you did not.
Oh,
I thought I heard that.
Yeah. Wouldn't... Wow, distraction syndrome.
Really?
No, I was thinking about the fact that when Trump was elected, the first thing I did, if you remember, is I went on Facebook and typed about 900 things in a row. Mm-hmm. I just dominated everybody's Facebook feed with my own thoughts, and most of them were LOL. You know, it was more snarky commentary on the, not to knock you, of course, because I know you despise. I get it, but I have a ton of friends who are like you in that there was no even considering that there was. We're not even considering Trump and or the like, right? We're not looking at the ilk. We're not even going close to the center. We're very far off to the left over here. And some of my closest friends are beyond bedwetting, right? They carry the outhouse into the room. Right. You know what I mean? As far as their liberalism is concerned, they're just very, very focused on it. And I kind of made fun of them for about 24 hours, like, well, have fun now. Yeah, right?
You guys so sure of yourselves.
Right, exactly.
And let's face it, everybody in Trump's campaign felt the same way.
Absolutely. So, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm not knocking it. So now I can't wait.
And it's not like it was a close race. It wasn't a close race at all.
No.
It wasn't.
No. I can't wait now to do the opposite. I can't wait to go back on Facebook and
they won't be there.
It'll go.
They won't be there.
Yeah, it'll go.
They quietly have just kind of, gone back into the bushes with Spacey.
Right.
They're out there waiting.
They're just in Michigan shooting at targets.
Yeah. Oh shit.
I actually have a really close buddy who's a big gun guy. And I mean, I have nothing against guns.
Not at all.
I grew up with
guns. I'm a gun owner.
Yeah, I'm a gun
NRA
owner
member.
as well. I'm not that.
I am.
But I have.
You wouldn't know that, would you?
No,
I know.
I have a license. I know how to, certainly fire a weapon. I know how to clean a weapon. I don't want to kill a deer and skin it and all that stuff. Because
when someone has already done that and put it in the store for me,
absolutely,
what?
Absolutely.
If I could hunt cow, that'd be different. You just drive up like a lobster tank at a good restaurant.
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah,
drop it.
My brain thinks is which animal would I kill?
Shoot your own steakhouse. Would that be a great business? Shoot your own steakhouse.
It's interesting. There was a place in Virginia Beach called the Grate Steak. And I think it was the first one of its kind where you would go in and you would pick your steak. This is like
the big icebox window full of steak.
Right.
Yeah,
you'd walk in.
I want that one.
And I want the 33-ounce porterhouse.
Yeah, I remember
but you had to cook it yourself.
Oh, really?
That was
there a discount?
A huge discount. Yeah, you could. So you could walk in and get this. Yeah. So this would be 1990. I've only been there once. It was called the Grate Steak. I don't even know if
smile on my face.
Oh yeah.
Oh, can you hear the smile on my face?
When we go to Virginia Beach, if it's still open, we'll go. You could go in. So this is 1990, and I think it was $18-20, and you could pick from. I mean, we're talking. You had a fillet, you had a porterhouse, you had a ribeye. You had you had it all.
Yeah.
A big sirloin. And I got the 33-ounce porterhouse, but you had to cook it yourself.
Right.
And then they had this giant grill area that was just a communal grill. It was awesome. And you'd go in there and you'd just be talking to people, flipping your steak.
Your grill. Pick up some tips from the guy next to you.
So you couldn't complain if the steak wasn't cooked to your satisfaction. But if you overcooked it, you're a problem.
Tough shit. Enjoy it. Wear it home. We'll sell you the twin.
Yeah.
Like at Nordstrom Rack.
It was a one price across the board.
Wow.
And so it might have been $22. I mean, we're talking a full-on ginormous steak with a full-on ginormous potato.
I was going to say, how'd they do the sides?
You still got the sides for free?
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, but you had to cook your own food.
We were at a place coming home from. You're welcome. Coming home from Arizona last year when I was driving the in-laws up north for the spring, and we're driving the RV, towing the trailer full of Harleys. And it's just a windy day and a stormy day, and it was a tough ride. I mean, the road we were fighting the RV all the way up. I mean, literally tacking the road. I'm literally tacking from one side of my lane to the other. And we stopped for lunch at this place, and I mean, the middle of frickin' nowhere. But it's this monstrous restaurant. It was like a big old home with wings and built on. I mean,
with wings.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I know.
And the place was, and the parking lot had, the shuttle buses in the parking lot. It was so big. Okay,
wow.
I mean, huge truck stop next door.
It's like Six Flags.
Yeah, Six Flags of beef.
Yeah.
But you went in and there was the butcher's case.
Wow.
Pick your steaks. That was, I'm like, oh yeah, and then get the beef, the prime rib chili as instead of the soup beforehand. Oh yeah, I'm like, with big hunks of prime rib and the chili. It was, badass. Yeah, wrap my baked potato to go and have a dessert. Give me that pie and that pie.
Yeah.
We're gonna, I'm eating huckleberry pie with my hand, driving an RV up the road. So safe, so healthy.
It's like Garfield, right?
Yeah.
Remember the whole diet is die with a T.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You go to a place like that, the diet is off the books. It's way over here, off to the left somewhere with the liberals.
Nice.
So you got your Dublin Ireland shirt on. You're still longing for home. You're longing to go back.
The motherland. Yeah. Mother's milk, the green grass of home.
That's right.
I could expat in Ireland. I could retire there.
Yeah. Easily.
I may have told you that before. When last time I went, it was at the peak of the economic boom that is the Celtic Tiger. They had Ireland's economy at one point, maybe 10 years ago, I want to say, was just dominating the world because Ireland had realized that if they gave corporate tax breaks to big internationals, they would build and headquarter in Dublin. And there's like Old Town Dublin, which is where Trinity College and the Commons building and all the historical, beautiful old Ireland and the little tiny streets and on Temple Bar, which is their Pike Place.
Right, the stuff that their IRA hasn't blown up.
Right, their Pioneer Square, I should say, is Temple Bar. Well, then there's maybe 3/4 of a mile from downtown Dublin and the Halfpenny Bridge to Dublin Bay.
The fact that it's called the Halfpenny Bridge is badass.
You know why it was called the Halfpenny Bridge?
I don't know anything about Ireland, man.
Because in Dublin, Trinity College and the government buildings were on the south side of the River Liffey, which cuts Dublin in half.
Okay.
The Po folk were up north.
Okay.
And the rich folk and the school and the government was down below. And beggars would come down and beg. And to beg, you had to cross the Halfpenny Bridge. And you couldn't get across without a halfpenny.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And this is how they kept. It was like a caste system. They kept the chaff
the lesser, the workers were north of the river.
Yeah.
And the elite were below the river.
I wonder if that's where no, it's not, because I was thinking of the south side of the tracks, but that's not tracks. It's a river.
Yeah. Well, the wrong side of the tracks.
Isn't it interesting, though, that most cities, the southern part is the quote-unquote crappier? It's interesting how that works. South Seattle, South LA, I mean, really, seriously. I mean, I'm thinking of like South Chicago, South Boston.
Yeah.
That's kind of, and not to say crappy, but certainly working class.
Yeah.
Right.
South Balmer, same way.
As all our listeners
South
just
Philly,
hang up because they're all in South Park.
No, it's true. South Philly.
Right.
Yep.
South Camden.
You bet, man.
So it's like the south of the south of the south.
Oh, yeah.
South
Carolina.
Yeah.
The whole fucking state.
Have you ever been to South Dakota? We talked about this a little bit before. It's my favorite state in the country. Really? I love it so much.
Because you like vast wastelands of nothingness?
Maybe.
It could very well be it.
It could very well be it. I think it's because I've had such a profound experience back then when I drove through the state that I was just like, this place is amazing.
I loved South Dakota.
Yeah.
I did. I like the West.
Yeah. Well,
I do.
You live here.
Well, no, I mean, but I don't live like, in wide open spaces.
That's true.
I live in a very left-leaning metropolitan, cosmopolitan city.
That's true. You do not live in Tom Cruise's West.
I don't live in, I don't live in no, it's not him. Who is it? I'm brain farting. I don't live in Kevin Costner's West.
Okay.
That's where I want to live.
Do you want to live in 1990's Kevin Costner West or 1994's Kevin Costner West, which would be the Postman, the sort of post-apocalyptic
fuck that shit.
West?
No, I want to live in I don't know. I mean, I like where I live, but I do love the Southwest, especially. But I love the West. I love the whole concept of the West.
I've driven through the Southwest. I've never actually stopped. The Southwest I've ever been. Seriously, this is embarrassing. I've only flown through Phoenix. I've never actually been to Phoenix.
Oh wow, you're kidding?
And I had family lived in Scottsdale, etc. for years. And just never went there. I've driven through basically 40. So I went through Flagstaff area, the northern part of the state, and up towards the Grand Canyon.
Gotcha.
But never been to Monument Valley. Just never done any of that cool stuff. I've only been in Salt Lake City in Utah. I've only landed in the airport. I've
never left the airport. See, I don't see. When
I know that doesn't count.
When you count where you've been.
Yeah,
I don't count airports that I don't leave.
Yeah, but I mean, so that means I've never been to Utah. Really, in the sense of I've landed in the airport.
I went to a NCAA basketball tournament there. When I first moved here, in the early '90s. Maryland was having a good run in their college basketball program, and they had a round of 32/6 around the 16 that round, the second round. They were in a West Regional and playing in Salt Lake City, and one of my coworkers had family in town, so we all flew to Gonzaga was playing there, I think, in the same bracket. So we all went down together. He wanted to see Gonzaga, I wanted to see the Terps. We went down and watched the ball game in Salt Lake City.
So what?
At University of Utah.
What are terrapins?
It's a turtle indigenous to the Chesapeake Bay.
Okay, interesting. Mm-hmm. Huh. Well, that's a podcast killer right there.
That's a terrapin. I know. The Terps. Believe me, I know.
There's some weird ones.
Yeah.
Like the Utah Jazz. We all know actually because it came from New
Orleans.
Right,
New Orleans.
But
the Jazz.
Nobody seems to know that. Yeah. But like the Lakers weren't from L.A.
Minneapolis. The Lakes.
Yeah. Oh,
the Clippers of the LA Clippers.
Yeah,
San Diego.
See, no, I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. But I'm not really that big a sports fan.
Well, but the Clipper name from itself was from the sailing community of San Diego.
Oh, see there, I didn't. That is so cool. I had no idea. Mm-hmm. The Sonics clearly make sense. The Supersonics.
This is the your Jetson City.
Yeah,
named after the World's Fair mentality that is Seattle.
It still is.
It's still
1962 in Seattle.
Really, in a lot of places. Yeah. No shit.
So, what are we going to talk about today? Because we had no plan. This was one of those days that we just sort of accidentally fell into the room, dominated by paperwork at the table we normally share with somebody.
Let's go through other people's shit. That's the theme of this podcast is.
I was looking at advertising budget.
Intrusion.
So what have you done the past week? I mean, we could just talk about guilt today because we kind of touched on that possibility 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But then Chris Cornell screwed it up by dying.
Yeah.
But
the real inconvenience was that we couldn't do a show.
Yeah. It's always God.
So guilt seems pretty appropriate if you feel that way.
Yeah, when you think about it, you're like, I am kind of feeling Minnesota right now.
Yeah, but you look so California.
Thank you.
I don't know. Guilt. It's it's funny. I'm in a good mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am in a good mood. I don't know why. I mean.
What do you mean you don't know why? Because you woke up alive, maybe?
Yeah, right side of the grass.
Yeah.
Every day on the right side of the grass is a good day, as my father-in-law has taught me.
Yeah.
I guess I'm in a good mood because, I don't know. It seems, I don't want to pin it all on the politics of our time.
So you're reveling.
But it's sure, I'm a little reveling because it seems to be that this, they're evil but stupid, luckily. Because if they were evil and smart, they could do some real frickin' damage.
Yeah.
But they're so stupid. They're just so stupid. And when I say they, everybody dumb enough to sign up with them.
I know.
I watch these idiots out there. I watch these surrogates out there trying to spin this shit. I'm like, do you really? Are you listening to yourselves?
I'm just blown away by how many people, they want to be right so bad. They just got to be right. It's just been given to us for 8 years, so now it's our chance to give back. And I mean, not give in the sense of being kind, but to stick it in your butt, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the funny thing is these people some of my family included, are saying these things, and they're saying how wrong it was before. Well, but if you want that, then that means you want the wrong thing as well. If you want to stick it to the rest of America because they don't agree with your politics. And that blows my mind. It's like, how pot kettle black is this, right?
Well,
That's craziness, man.
People who say we put up with Obama,
What do they put up with?
What'd you put
really?
up with?
I mean, yeah,
the
maybe
stock market tripled. The job market recovered. The car industry survived. How horrible of us.
Yeah. Well, it's not one person, as we well know.
No, I
but
know.
Everybody seems to put it on the figurehead.
Well, yeah.
Right? Now, granted, the thing is lately, amazingly, the one guy that is the figurehead right now is actually responsible for a tremendous amount of what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, personally responsible.
Absolutely.
And that is a mind-blowing thing. We always talk about how we want a president to, interact and to be the one who's actually doing the work, right? Not just assigning it downstream.
Right.
And so he goes out and he does it. But he's the guy who's pushing people out of the way to get to the front of the picture.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It's just madness.
Well, we're going off a cliff. we are literally going off a cliff.
The thing is I don't think really anything is going to happen simply because he is so despised. That I'm not talking about him maybe being impeached or something crazy like that.
You mean his
talking
agenda?
I'm saying the agenda.
The conservative agenda.
And the
conservative
person,
legislative agenda.
Right. The person and the agenda of which he represents, I think, is so, for the most part, despised that there will be there will be no power because as we well know already, and this is from a guy who has really no care for politics. I'm certainly aware that the majority of the Congress and the Senate are also agreeing that, wow, this guy's kind of an F job. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And so they're not getting behind his policies either. It's just my family and a few of my friends in the Midwest who are like, well, he'll show everybody. We'll put those niggers in their place. I mean, that's totally how they think.
Well, he has no policy, first off. And the conservative agenda who tolerated him to get him to win power and to move forth their agenda, I have no sympathy for them.
Yeah.
They were willing to let this clown show, win an election for them to get them all levers of power. Yeah. And now he's such an absolute dumpster fire. He's an absolute dumpster fire. I mean, where do you start? Insulting the mayor of London after a terrorist attack? Or if that doesn't get you, I mean, that ought to get you crazy. Then, Tehran is a victim of a terrorist attack. So, while we feel for the people of Tehran, what do you expect when you are a promoter of terrorism? Yeah. I mean, I don't like Tehran. I don't like Iran. But even I know that's fucking out of bounds. Yeah. That's Kathy Griffith holding up a bloody head level of out of bounds. I mean, that's – okay, the world went batshit crazy when Kathy Griffith held up a rubber head covered in ketchup. Yeah. Okay, they went nuts. But this
Except
guy,
Rob Jones, I didn't care at all.
But this guy, insults every ally, every enemy. We don't have time to worry about whether North Korea is going to start World War III because he's too busy fucking with everybody else.
Have you seen the video? I saw it yesterday, I think, and I'm totally, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Former president of Mexico, was it Vincenze?
Fox.
Did you see the video?
Fucking taco.
Did you see that one?
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is just awesome that these are people who have had tremendous power and they're really just settling in with, Ma and Pa Fitzgerald and saying, hey, you suck.
Yeah.
I love that. And the funny thing is again, I'm not a big political guy, but who can't see that this is such a douchebag doing douchebag moves simply to serve himself? There is nobody care. He does not care for his family. He doesn't care for you or I.
Well, if you knew his family, you wouldn't care for him either. They're those idiots too.
I think there's decent people in there.
Uday and Kusei, you think they're okay?
I think
the Trump boys.
Uday, that's pretty solid. I think there's a video of them laying on a stretcher with bullet holes in there.
God,
they're not necessarily bad. They're just
wait a minute. No, they're fucking idiots.
I don't pay attention, truthfully.
Yesterday, Snake Boy, which one's that? Eric.
I don't know.
With the fucking the snake.
I'm a nice
forehead.
guy. I don't know.
He's up. He goes on with Hannity and it's like, the people who criticize my father, they're not even human.
Really?
Like, yeah. Oh yeah. I'm like, really, dude? Really? People who oppose your father aren't even human? Okay.
You look like you're a character in Twin Peaks.
Yeah, just go on out and shoot another leopard. Yeah.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
He-Man.
Seriously?
Oh,
no,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I didn't. No, see, again, I don't. I stay away from it. The only time I'm political is here.
I know. And I didn't want to run down this rabbit hole either. But I'm in such a good mood.
No, I know that's
because I'm reveling in it because it's coming to roost, man. Yeah. He's just
and they can't get is it Comey or Kumi?
Comey.
Okay, they cannot get Comey off his what is it? What's the word? They haven't been able to get him off of the truth, if you will, by distracting him with an absurd question that derails his thinking.
Right? No,
they haven't been able to do it.
That's not who he is.
Right. And here's the thing: people go, one of my friends on Facebook, who I adore tremendously, was basically saying this morning that it's clear that Comey's sort of a liberal-ish, liberal-leaning. I'm thinking like, okay, so no. But here's the thing: he's basically saying that. We're gonna. I'm totally winging it here, faking it even. That we're gonna be able to get Trump. We're trying to get Trump, but the fact is you should have gone after Hillary. And my brain is thinking, okay, if Hillary really did the things they said she did, you're right. We should have gone after her. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't stop us from going after the guy who's currently doing effed up stuff.
Oh yeah.
I hate this again. The opposite of our guy. This is different. Or you got us. Now we're going to get you.
Right.
Either way, you're a clusterfuck. If you really think you should be doing that, you're an idiot.
Absolutely.
And you're not helping.
No.
So right now the internet is just clogged with opinions, and granted, these are ours. They're just opinions, and we're not hurting any sponsors, fortunately for us.
I know, right?
Because we need coin. That's what that sound is. Every once in a while you hear Spike's microphone click. It's just the sound of another nickel dropping into the basket.
We lost our Squatty Potty endorsement deal like Kathy Griffin did. It shit happens.
That is hilarious in itself that she had a Squatty Potty.
I know. Well, that's all she had too.
So did you hear the dink just now? We got a nickel. I don't know what we got it for.
It's funny. People are like, well, she lost everything. And what gets me is that people who say, well, she's a D-lister, blah, 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 blah.
Well, she's self-proclaimed.
Well, I know, but they like, what a has-been. Yeah? What do you do on New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
You host a show for CNN from Times Square?
Yeah.
That's a shitty gig. Wow, you're really scraping the barrel there, clam dip.
Yeah, people want to be... They want you to be at their level. They don't want
human nature.
They don't want to be raised at another.
Well, human nature is the human nature is to rip down other people so you feel better about yourself.
Yeah,
that's just self-defense, human nature.
So just so you understand, if you wonder why my eyes are doing weird things,
I thought you're flirting with me.
I'm having an ocular migraine right now.
Really? Mm-hmm. Is that painful?
No. But I can't see you.
Monocular migraine?
No, it's an ocular.
Ocular?
In my eyes. Uh-huh. So right now I have all these white dots in front of me. So I can barely see you right now.
You're kidding me.
No. And that's why I keep doing this.
Okay.
So you guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm basically looking around the room like I can't see. Like I wouldn't be able to drive right now. I'd have to pull over. No, but this happens to a lot of people.
Really? I've had these from time to time.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pre-stroke thing.
Well, for a long time, I thought it was. And then I thought maybe I had a tumor.
Okay.
Right? My mom's had this issue when she was younger.
Ocular migraine?
Yeah. So what happens is there's and again, this is not a medical commentary. I have no idea. This is what I think happens is somewhere in your brain, the blood vessels that, in a sense, feed your eyes constrict. And that cuts off blood circulation, right? So your eyes...
Over here.
Yeah, your eyes... Thank you.
Sorry.
Your eyes can't work. I'm listening to the sound of your voice, and it's everywhere.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah. And so what I get is all these... I have all these white
I've had the
polka dots.
Yeah, the swimming.
Yeah, and it lasts about 30, 40 minutes.
You're shitting me. Mm-mm. How often do you have them?
Twice a year.
No shit.
Yeah, for like I said, but I might have a couple of. In the summer of 2015, I had them 34 days straight.
Holy shit! You couldn't see for 34 straight days. You have one a day.
I'd had one every day, and it's mostly stress, I think.
Yeah, is that caffeine affecting that? Is that what makes the contraction?
No,
worse?
I've heard actually caffeine helps.
Okay, good. Because I don't want to be the guy that blinded you.
No.
Okay.
No, that would be Starbucks.
God damn you, Howard Schultz. First the Sonics and now Rob's eyes.
No. First the Sonics, then gay marriage.
Yeah.
Now my eyes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
He's him and his open mind.
Yeah.
You bastard.
If you're for traditional marriage, you can fuck off.
Yeah, you.
Well, okay.
What gets me though, I mean, okay, how is my gay love an affront to you and your traditional values?
It's not.
I know, because you have a rational mind and you're a compassionate, great soul. But
Jesus would be standing in front of you right now, loving on you.
Yeah.
And every gay couple right. I mean, it's just
this is Edwin.
Insanity.
Oh, he's lovely. Congratulations.
It's bringing
Steve.
the ism into it.
Yeah.
It's bringing the religion into it, and people can go, well, in Hebrews, and I said, yes, I get that. I get that.
Sure.
But again, if you want to talk about strictly grace, okay, well, if we're all doomed because of our sin nature, the fact that I like porn or that Spike likes to smoke
watching
pot,
Rob do porn, yeah. I love watching Rob do porn.
Right? If we all have a sin nature and we're going to inevitably fall back, even the greatest leaders in the Bible, Peter, who loved Jesus more than life himself, still denied him. Right? If that's the case, then we're all screwed.
Sure.
So if we're all screwed, then thank God for grace. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and we can talk about that. Well, you still need to accept Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior. Okay, cool.
Groovy.
Where do I
sign?
I do.
Yeah.
I truly do. But there it is. It's still so silly. Okay, then I should go out and serve people. Okay, I'm gonna.
Cool.
It's called agape love, motherfucker.
Right on. Dig it. I hear you, man.
I know what. I'm sorry. Tangential.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
So I have been watching, I know you're not watching this. I've been watching the new Twin Peaks.
Okay.
And I know there are some listeners of ours who are also Twin Peaks fans, mostly because they're friends of mine who are listening to this podcast. And
so Twin Peaks, are those tweakers? So when somebody says they're a tweaker, does that mean they watch Twin Peaks?
No, they're called Peakies.
Peakers?
Peakies? Yeah, like
That's stupid.
Peakies.
Like Trekkies, but with peaks?
Yeah, Peakies.
Not Tweakies?
Yeah. Nope. Peakers would be, if you're into boobs, but Peakies would be I don't know. I don't think we really have a name for us, so to speak. But
stupid.
It has been the most incredibly weird, awesomely disappointing, cool thing I've ever seen.
Awesome, really?
Yeah,
cool,
it's really
awesome,
a combination of things.
Is it impossible to live up to the memory of Twin Peaks? Is that why?
If you have 25 years to stew and brew, you have 25 years to think, how would you have ended it, right? And how maybe it should have ended, or your desire for some clarification or justification why something existed, because again, you were not a Twin Peaks person, but Twin Peaks at the end of 1991 ended on a cliffhanger of epic proportions. It's considered widely to be the biggest cliffhanger ever in the history of television, and they ended the series with it. So they didn't come back to it to answer it.
Wow.
And so people were really left going, well, what? I remember my wife watched it and she just literally looked at me like she was pissed off.
Yeah.
She turned around and looked at me like, you made me watch 29 episodes of a show and it ends like that? You're an asshole.
I know, right? Same thing with The Sopranos ending.
Same kind of thing. Except this is way worse than that.
Yeah.
Like your favorite person is screwed. Like screwed.
And then it no ends. Resolution.
It just ends, goes to credits, and you're like, what? And see now, David Lynch, a lot of people thought when he shot it, it was his way of going like this to ABC. But the fact is, it wasn't. He had actually thought, we might have a chance if we can hang it, end on a cliffhanger, that they'll bring us back to at least for a short, maybe half season.
Sure,
to get closure.
Finish it. Right.
And they didn't. They're like, nope, too bad.
Wow.
So Showtime comes along 25 years later, and the show had a convenient, entry back, because there's a line in the last episode, in the 29th episode, there's a line where the character that gets killed, she's in kind of like a heavenly place. It's hard to explain. She says, I'll see you again in 25 years. And so the show comes back 25 years later. That's badass. I mean, you got to admit, that's pretty badass.
You think
right?
Showtime wanted to do this 10 years ago? It said, no, got to wait 25. Let's say 15, said 25.
No, I don't think so. But I think, I mean, a lot of us who were into the show, I remember thinking, wouldn't it be cool if it came back? I mean, wouldn't that be something? And then all of a sudden it does, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, so it comes back. And I was sitting there with my wife, and this is a couple weeks ago that it premiered, and we turned it on, and I was afraid to hit unpause. You know what I mean? Because it's streaming, right?
Yeah,
so I turned it on and I hit pause, mostly so it could load a little bit, so it doesn't do the stutter thing.
Yeah.
And she looks at me and she goes, well, and I'm like, I kind of afraid to start it because I'm afraid to be disappointed.
Right.
And it comes on, and the first hour was, what? You know, because that's a David Lynch thing, right? A lot of what? A lot of, like, tons of mystery, tons of open-ended questions. So, and of course, the idea is across 18 episodes, because it's an 18-episode series, we're going to fill in a lot of the blanks.
Okay.
We're leading you down a mysterious road, and you're going to start putting pieces together.
Okay.
I totally get that. But when you couple that with literally the opposite thematically, mood, tone of what the series was, I mean, literally the opposite, and then you add in a whole bunch, too many actors, too many plot lines, and then you add in really bad actors on top of it, you go, oh my God, this is shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so a friend of mine watched it before me, and then, you know, because he can't help it, immediately sends me a text, oh my God. And I go, what? And he goes, this is atrocious. And so I was predisposed 3 hours, because he, you know, East Coast time, right?
Right.
I was predisposed to watch it and expect it to suck.
Yeah.
And so the first 2 hours, I was like, oh my God, he's right. This is atrocious. So then the second 2 hours come on. My wife and I watch it the next day. Because the first 4 hours were mid available online early. And then it kind of was cool, right? Okay. So I thought, I want to love this. So I actually went back and watched it again, all 4 hours.
Okay.
And I gotta admit, I was like, this is kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
So I seriously, dude, I did this. I went back and watched it again. Third time, 4 hours. So I watched the first 4 hours 3 times, 12 hours a time. And gotta admit, now I'm loving it, right?
Okay.
So there is something about, maybe there is, I don't want to be a fanboy, but maybe there is actual genius in this, right? Maybe it's just I wanted it so much to be the way I wanted it that I couldn't see it for what it was. And now that I'm seeing it for what it is, I'm like, holy crap, this is good. So I will tell everybody out there, even if you disagree with me, stick with it, because we're, 5 hours in? We're going to be 6, episode 6 comes out Sunday, and it's finally starting to click.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. I know you don't have any reference point.
No, it is. That's how I describe fidelity. You know, I mean, hang in there. It's going to click.
Someday she'll have sex with you again.
First couple years, you're like, I don't know. This is really absurd. This is terrible, ridiculous. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. So, okay, it makes sense now. Yeah. There's always a way to bring it home, baby. You know, it's funny you talk about preconceptions about shit. You know, when House of Cards, which I loved.
I love House of Cards.
I didn't watch the new season.
I haven't watched it yet. Yeah.
Because I'm like, if I didn't finish season 4.
How is that possible?
I know, right? Well, because I started working the 2 jobs.
Oh yeah.
I got into it late. I didn't watch it. I didn't binge it when it first came out. In fact, it's funny. I watched season 1 and then, I forget what season it was, but I ripped through 2 seasons thinking I had a new season starting and accidentally binged the entire new season without meaning to.
Oh,
I know, and I'm like, fuck.
Oh, you had to. Yeah. So you all of a sudden missed like certain characters maybe not surviving.
No. I didn't skip over any in the serialization of the thing.
Okay, you didn't skip over Zoe's storyline.
No.
That's kind of a big deal.
I thought I had a whole season banked up.
Oh, I gotcha.
And I thought I was catching up, and I ripped through what I was catching up to before I started the new stuff, and ripped right through all the new stuff. Then I had to wait. So then I went back and rewatched everything. But I didn't finish season 4. I left when he got shot. Sorry, spoiler alert, you're fucked. And I won't say who. How about that? When he got shot.
One of the main characters.
I got sidetracked into other shit and didn't get back to it for like almost a year. But then when the new season was released, I got caught up. And I've watched the first 2 of the new season.
You haven't watched any of it yet.
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah, of course.
Well, it's well written.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
And incredibly well acted.
Absolutely.
The scene that took me out, though, I mean, it took me a while to get back, was the threesome scene.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what? I mean, come on, I
Yeah.
get it. You're just trying to push the limits to see
Right.
what we'll accept.
Right.
But I just called BS on that. I thought that was just kind of absurd. And granted, maybe it was Spacey's way of
Watch it a third
of
time.
saying, you guys I think I'm gay in real life. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
You know what I mean?
but then again, you got to figure out how supportive they are of each other.
Right.
You know, that's Claire and Frank's relationship.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
Yeah.
You know, that really was okay. There's
Yeah.
nothing I wouldn't do for him, or there's nothing she wouldn't do for he wouldn't do for her. She wouldn't
Yeah.
do for him. You know, it's bizarre.
And then the sacrificial lamb sort of aspect of what follows.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
it's pretty, it's profound, but for a moment, it just completely knocked me for a loop. I was like, I literally looked at the TV, I looked at my wife and I go, come on.
Well, what I've seen of season 5 so far is so ripped from the headlines, if you will.
Well, of course. That's what makes it good. Is it's topical.
Yeah. And America's decision on what we care about as a mob, what's important, and what we're willing to forgive, not forgive, but not just what we're willing to just dismiss as a mob.
Yeah.
It's so, I'm like, wow.
I need to watch it.
You know, it's like, Jesus, this is fiction, and this makes more sense than what the world is actually going through right now.
Yeah.
You know, this is a more palatable and realistic alternative to what we're actually going through right now. That's a sad statement of what we're going through right now.
You know what's interesting, that television, and granted, again, I say it every time, I don't have TV, but I do have, I stream a couple of things, right? I have Showtime, I have Netflix, I mean, YouTube stuff I do.
Yeah.
Television is full, I mean, just absolutely chock full of amoral characters now. That's the whole thing. Like, we love the idea of rooting on quietly, secretly the bad guy.
Oh, the flawed hero is
right.
everything.
We love that. I mean,
everything.
Everything from Batman,
Sure,
right?
you bet.
I mean, we just don't like the
Well,
golden.
Walter White, Jesus.
He's one of the greatest characters ever.
Yeah. Well, full time, what a fucking broken Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
All the,
Vic in The Shield. If you,
yeah.
dude, have you ever watched?
No, I haven't watched
Oh,
The Shield. You've promised.
It's
told
still the best thing ever. I mean, I love Twin Peaks. The Shield is the best show ever.
Wow.
There's nothing to me that has ever even come close.
Yeah.
God, it's just epic and opera. It's just opera.
Did you ever get in the weeds?
No, I never watched it.
Yeah, another flawed hero.
Yeah.
Nancy Botwin. She's
Or like
fucking drug dealer.
Californication or any of those
right.
shows.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I think it's just humanity, but it's
because we
amplified
are all
humanity.
broken, and we'd all like to be heroes.
Yeah.
We can relate on the fact that we're all broken. He's broken too. He's a hero. I could be a hero.
Yeah.
I mean, we root for a guy that's like us.
Yeah. So I got Showtime, and I didn't have anything because I had watched all 5 episodes. I gotten caught up on Twin Peaks. I'm like, I don't know what I want to watch, and so I'm just kind of toggling through Showtime. And I remember somebody had said they kind of liked Billions. And so I put it on. And holy crap, is that a good show? Are you familiar with it? Paul Giamatti?
Yeah, Paul Giamatti and Daniel, what's his name?
It's
Daniel Lewis?
Yeah, Damian Lewis.
Damian Lewis, yeah. And I love him.
They're like the 2 best actors in the world. I mean, right now.
No, I hear you.
It's so well written. It's like the West. I swear, it's got that West Wing vibe.
Really?
As far as the writing.
Cool.
It's just so spot on, and it's witty, but it's not. It's not like, say, Kevin Smith writing where you're trying to sound cool.
Right.
I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I
but
do, actually.
Kevin Smith drives me crazy because he overwrites everything.
Right, yeah.
But this is just full of repartee.
Yeah.
It's not witticisms.
Cool. No, I hear
right?
you. Yeah.
And it's jabs, but it's the right kind of jabs. It's just the idea of 2 guys pitted against each other. Both are highly amoral.
Yeah.
And yet one is on, quote unquote, the side of good, and
Right.
the other's on the, quote, side of greed, right?
Yeah.
And it's really, really fun.
Really?
Yeah. It's a dirty show, though. I mean, it's very adult, very dirty.
Billions?
I mean, it opens up with, like a girl peeing on a guy. I mean, literally
Filmed
opens
in Russia?
up. Well, I was like, ah. I mean, I was like, okay. My wife, we kind of just looked at each other like, are we sure we're gonna like this? but it's really, really, really incredibly well acted.
Did you ever watch Life with him?
No, I like him a lot.
Yeah, it was a good show. It was network TV, and you're only gonna get so far in network TV.
I can't
We've
get
been
past
so
the fact that
spoiled.
he's Dick Winters. He's Dick Winters.
I know.
That's
Band of Brothers.
That's
dude.
the greatest series.
I was waiting to get to that.
Yep.
Yeah. I was using life to set up Band of Brothers.
Sorry, I didn't mean
No, not at all. Man, are you kidding me? When I had my testicular cancer.
This is a great segue.
And that's a great setup.
You know what?
When I lost a nut in the war.
You know when the Germans took one of my balls?
Nazis took my ball and went home.
They cut it up. They cut it up in front of me.
Yeah, no, experimentation they called it. Science they called it.
Yeah.
I recovered by watching cannibalizing Band of Brothers like 3-4 times in a row.
Yeah.
You know, just over and over. Because I was laying in bed with a sack of frozen peas on my nard and doing nothing but, remote control.
That's
was
fair.
all I was able to move. But Band of Brothers was just brilliant.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You know the story behind Band of Brothers? How it got made?
Not necessarily how it got made, but I certainly know. What we're watching on the screen for the most part is actually pretty spot on.
It's historically accurate. Yeah.
Yeah.
How it got made was when Tom Hanks was making Saving Private Ryan.
Right.
He kept hearing stories about Easy Company,
Okay.
about how one company, through just fate, ended up in the very worst of all of World War II.
Yeah, constantly.
The European theater.
Yeah.
They dropped in D-Day, and next thing you know, they're off to here, and next thing you know, that they're in the Battle of the Bulge.
Yeah, Bastogne.
And this is the same. They're in Bastogne. They're
liberating a death camp.
Right. They were at a camp. They took the Eagle's Nest in Berchtesgaden.
It's a
the
crazy
same
story.
company of men.
Yeah.
And so that Tom Hanks was the reason Band of Brothers got made, because he heard of their story making Saving Private Ryan.
Right. Was it Stephen Ambrose that wrote it?
I think so. Yeah. What just fucking love.
It's so
Band of
good.
Brothers.
It's so good. And when it ends, I've seen it probably 5 or 6 times in its entirety.
Yeah.
It's a lot like Shawshank Redemption. That when it's on, I just go like,
you stop.
okay,
Yep.
I don't care
Okay.
where
I wasn't going anywhere today.
where I jumped in.
Or this weekend.
Yep, honey,
Sure.
we're not going to church.
Nope.
It's
They're running Curry. We're not going anywhere.
It's so good. I love when I don't remember the character's name all of a sudden. Was it not Winters? Spears.
Yeah.
I love when the character of Spears takes over for the podunk lieutenant that's screwing up, leading them everywhere, and he raids like the German compound and then comes running back and then goes running in again. And it's the fact that it really happens, and it shows all the guys watching him going like, yeah, like let's go, like we got a leader again.
Yep.
I got all goosebumpy just talking about it,
man.
but it's so freaking good, and that. It literally, Dick Winters reminds me of my grandpa Red so much.
He passed away last year, I think.
Yes.
In real
I think
life.
2 years ago,
Was
but
it 2 years ago?
really, but recently. And when he shares that last story, where his grandchild says, Grandpa,
what did you do in the war? Oh my
were
God.
you a hero?
Oh
and
my
he's
God.
like,
No, but I was in a company of heroes. Oh, I'm getting a little.
No, it just.
I'm getting a little verklempt right now, man.
Crushes me.
I know.
It crushes me.
I know.
And then I remember my grandpa, and then I remember my dad, and every time. I'm always watching it like in the bedroom, and my wife is like busy with the kids, and she comes in and she looks down at me and she's like, "Oh, you're watching Band of Brothers."
I know, right?
Because you're like just pouring water out of my eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, and the company of heroes, you know. So
No, I get that way about West Wing. I swear to God, I really
so
do.
pathetic.
No, it's it's funny. There are times in your life when you need just reassurance.
Sure.
Okay, and as I watch
Your
this,
side is right.
No, wait a minute. Okay, that's not fair.
Resist.
That's not fair.
I know.
But whether it's whatever side you're on, the perspective of West Wing, to me, as a liberal, is that these are people who are smart, who care, and are doing things for the greater good.
Yeah.
It may be a perspective that I back, and some people may have a different set of priorities. Mm-hmm. I won't call them unpatriotic. I won't call them un-American. They have a different set of priorities than I do. Yeah. And I respect that. We differ. Yeah. There's a point of West Wing's story arc. I think it's season 2, where they hire this good-looking Republican to join the legal counsel of the White House. She goes on one of the pundit TV shows and crucifies one of the staff in a debate, just eviscerates him. So they hire her as an opposing viewpoint, and her friends are all like, "Can you don't you hate these people? Blah 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 blah." She's like, don't call them unpatriotic, but they are righteous. They are blah blah blah.
Right.
That sums it all up. Take this.
Right. So where were we at?
I was bemoaning West Wing not being just my side of the argument,
Okay.
but the side of the greater good.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about West Wing. I mean, it reaffirms my faith in not just a liberal perspective, but my faith in that government is, by and large, for the betterment of our country.
Yeah.
Government isn't in the way.
I agree.
Government isn't in the way of progress. Government is
Well, it shouldn't be.
it shouldn't be, and if it is, to me, I think okay. Much as your religious rights don't get to cross over into my world or my beliefs, I respect your religious beliefs, but you shouldn't have the power to deny me my beliefs of a different perspective.
Right, absolutely.
And in
You're still
like,
gonna burn
say
hell.
for regulations, sure, of course. Well, that's a given.
Of
Once we've
course.
agreed on that, we can move on.
I'll leave you alone now.
The Trump administration wants to strip all these bad for business regulations. Okay, so a small percentage of people can make a shitload of money, and those of us who aren't in that arena get to pick over the remains of the planet.
Yeah, it blows me away that people who are on the side of the current administration, if you will, again, wanting to be right so desperately, that they're willing to turn a blind eye to that and say that doesn't happen. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah. I mean, you can't honestly look.
I mean, it's happened on both parties.
Right, but you can't look me in the eye and say that this is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's just
really
no.
crazy.
I know that's it's the disingenuous. Come the fuck on.
I think the struggle for most people, at least it seems to me, that nobody really is rooting for the greater good. They're rooting for their good.
Because they feel like, to your point, they feel like they've been short-sheeted for 8 years.
Yeah. Or
now
longer.
it's their turn.
Or even longer.
Well, you look at the perspective of what's a good way to run things. Okay, Reagan tripled the debt. And then.
And yet widely considered to be the most inspiring and responsible president we've had in 50 years.
Not by me. Not by anybody on my side.
I understand that.
A guy who,
but he was pretty good at it because he was such an eloquent speaker.
Well,
he was good
it.
at tying things together.
He was.
Even if it wasn't necessarily weighted in your favor,
right.
You didn't necessarily mind it as much as the current administration.
Right. Well, this guy doesn't.
Who's reminding you that, by the way, I don't care.
Right. He doesn't care. I mean, look at Reagan. Look at Iran-Contra.
Right. It was just pulling the wool over your eyes, right?
This guy,
or the
totally,
attempt of doing it.
Meanwhile, Clinton got a blowjob.
Yeah.
Okay.
That bothers me too.
Reagan ran a secret war.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And
well, the
and
government
got a
did. I don't know if Reagan
shit starts.
The
at top.
administration,
right? Then there's the Bush administration, who's championing torture, who started a war on false premises to get the military-industrial complex up and running again.
You know what's interesting about that? I want to address that because when I was in the Navy, I was in the Navy, and not Donald Trump, and not Rumsfeld, the Vice President, Dick Cheney was the Secretary of Defense. And he, there was a time when I was on maybe the USS Abraham Lincoln when it was ported in Norfolk, Virginia. And he was speaking to a crowd. And it was so patriotic and elevated that I was just like, yeah, swollen with pride. I love my country. I love that I'm in the service of my country. And so when it came around in 2000, I wasn't a Gore fan. And granted, again, being a slightly right-leaning centrist, I was like, well, lesser of two evils. I'll take Bush. I did. I was like, I'll vote for that guy. Yeah. But it was because of the vice president.
You voted for Dick Cheney?
I voted for Dick Cheney.
Wow.
And granted,
I've
again,
never heard that from anyone before.
I admit it. I voted for Dick Cheney. I totally voted for him. Well, I had no idea of his sort of business dealings.
I voted for Bush Cheney over Kerry.
Okay, well, definitely. That was easy. But
I know,
to me,
right?
he was such a knee-jerk reaction to everybody's frustration with that it was like he was his era's Donald Trump. in a way.
Who was Kerry?
To me, Kerry was. He was such an outlier, such an extreme version of what to me
liberalism.
Democrats should be. He was like the super hyper liberal guy, the hippie, if you will.
Yeah,
And then I was like, I don't want the hippie, and I wasn't happy with Bush at all.
Right.
But again, I had voted for him. So when all the stuff went wrong with Cheney, I was like, oh my God, I'm a dick. I felt so guilty for bringing the guy in office. And here's the thing, I voted for Obama. I didn't vote for him the second time.
Yeah.
I voted for him the first time because I was caught up in the sweep of change and the fact that I was frustrated with a guy that didn't know what a hysterectomy was, that he didn't know anything about the woman's body. I mean, literally, he's a good old boy, a true good old boy, kind of a dumb Southern kid, well-meaning. He's more like led astray by evil people.
He's more like Will Ferrell's caricature of him than he is him.
Yes,
absolutely.
He really is that guy. And I mean, I bet you he'd be a great dude to hang out with.
He's a dude.
And play
he's totally
frisbee
a dude.
and smoke a bowl.
He is.
He's that guy.
He hangs out with Bono. They get along great.
I saw that picture.
That's a great picture.
It is. But I really wanted to have what I believe to be a presidential president. Which is why I voted for Obama. Now, I was very frustrated with Obama second term.
How come?
Because I felt like he was a middling president. I felt like he was a lot like Carter in that he didn't really get much accomplished. It was just lots of bouncing back and forth. And I'm a social agenda guy.
Well,
I believe in social medicine. I just didn't like the way it was put together, and then kind of so abrupt in how it was not forced honest, but that it was like we had no say.
Right.
It was very frustrating.
Given the fact that the only way to make sausage is not to watch you make sausage.
Totally get it.
And I always, Obama, I was a supporter twice. And I look at the first 2 years of his first administration and how much was accomplished. And then the obstructionist plan came into place and nothing got done.
Yeah.
For 6 years, nothing got done.
Yeah.
And that's where we are.
Yeah.
We're at just, when McConnell made it his mission to, if you're for it, I'm against it. If you say the sky's blue, I say the sky's green.
Yeah.
If you say
well,
water's
here we
wet,
are
I say
again
water.
now.
I know. But I think that's where it started.
Yeah.
And then the Tea Party comes in and vilifies compromise and statesmanship completely. If you think about voting with a Democrat, we will primary you out of existence.
Yeah.
And they did.
Yeah.
And the chasm opened.
Yeah.
And then the beast crawled out of the middle of the earth.
Well, what's going to happen is Trump, in some way, shape, or form, will obviously either be voted out or die or whatever's going on.
He'll resign. He'll resign and claim victory. That's how he'll do it. He'll resign and claim
similar
victory.
to what Nixon did. Like, you guys don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, right. And his supporters will buy into every second of that.
Yeah.
And he'll start Trump TV and make more money than ever.
Yeah. I just feel like I do feel like I'm not going to call it and say, see, I told you. I don't really care, but I do think that will happen. But I think who we get in place will be terrifying. I really do believe.
What do you mean, Pence?
I'm just saying whatever happens next
is terrifying.
I'm really, that's what scares me, Spike.
Why? I mean,
because it sets up when a country is as broken apart as we are currently, as when a certain group of people are so either ostracized or vilified or despised, whatever you want to call it, the knee-jerk reaction is always stronger, right? We've talked about the knee-jerk reaction of things, right? It's hard to get back to the middle, and the people, if you will, for the most part, are served when we are at least somewhat centrist, right? Certainly closer to the middle than opposite.
Every good deal on both sides thought they could have done better.
Right.
That's what we have to be as a country.
And so, to me, and granted, I might be, because I live in a liberal hotbed, I might be seeing media in a different way here than I would, say, if I lived in Wisconsin, right? I just fear the opposite, and not to say that extreme liberalism is going to destroy the nation. That's not it. I'm literally talking about it could set a dangerous precedent of somebody stepping in who nobody even is paying attention to right now, who has far, far more dangerous agendas simply to get the moron out of office. That's what scares me.
Interesting.
Is the setup. And granted, the Christian in me says, well, yeah, right? I mean, literally. I mean, part of it is weighed on my own personal feelings of faith and religion.
Okay.
That inevitably the world has to go to a troublesome, dark place, at least from a biblical perspective.
Aren't we there?
No.
With daily attacks, terror attacks?
Nah, we're not.
Globally,
We're not close enough yet. No.
Really?
No, it's got to get way worse. It's got to get worse to the point where you're willing to give up everything you are, every privacy, everything. You're willing to give it up to be protected from what you assume is an evil agenda. That's what has to happen.
I think we're close to that.
I'm not saying we're not,
Yeah.
but I'm saying that's what, again, kind of scares me is the idea of, look, we already have literal, this is fun. We literally have the capability to track everybody in the world. We already are in some ways.
Sure.
Right?
Your phone tells you when you're. I don't know if I told you this.
You can literally turn your phone this way or this way, and Google Maps knows which way your phone is pointing.
Okay.
That's crazy.
When I get in my car and start my car,
Yeah.
my phone says you have 45 minutes toward home.
Yeah.
Except on Wednesdays, I take my kid to piano. Okay.
And it knows where you're going.
On Wednesday, it says you'll be there in 19 minutes.
Yeah.
How the fuck you know that I'm going to piano instead of home?
Yeah, it
well, you
averages
do that every
out
Wednesday.
I
know.
Averages out all of your
I know.
Right. And so here's the thing. Years ago when the Bible was written. No, but I remember when I was a child, people were always talking about like the end times, what was going to happen, and what was the Antichrist like, and how are we all going to take the mark of the beast? You know, how would you possibly know? You know, and now you look at the world and you're like, okay, there's basically an invisible covering over the world called the internet, right? That in a sense can connect everybody, right?
Yeah.
And all you have to do is stick an RFID tracker in somebody's hand. And you know where everybody's at.
Yep.
And it's really easy to say, well, we're doing it for a number of reasons. One of the main reasons is every year, 3,000 children are kidnapped. We want to keep track of them. Every year.
I'm in.
And it would be really hard pressed to unsell that, right?
You bet.
So a lot of people, we've already been trained to give up because we do it every day when we say, yes, I want Google to track me, or yes, I want Facebook to, I want to sign in with Facebook.
Yeah.
Right? We're already doing that. We've already given, quote unquote, the internet facial recognition photos that right? I mean, it's the freaking end of the world in a technology biblical space. You really are already being tracked. So what's the difference in actually just putting in your body? At least I know where you're at. And so if you are kidnapped, I can save you. And if you are dismembered, I can find parts of you. I mean, it's all that stuff. So who wouldn't trade for that? Not me. Now, if I'm the guy who says, if I'm the outlier that goes, not me, hell no. Well, what's going to happen? I'm going to get put in jail. What's going to happen? I might be sacrificed. Well, he's an outlier. He's all of a sudden it's invasion of the body snatchers.
So
everybody goes,
so whose perspective is that? Conservative or liberal?
I don't know. You could say it's a conservative perspective, that it's easier to track, but liberals are open to it like you just said, I'll do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And I would never do it.
Well, here's the deal. It's funny. I mean, I don't mean
Isn't
to be...
that funny?
It is. I mean, as a liberal, I'll take it. As a conservative, they'll sell it.
Oh, no, I don't disagree. I mean, I totally get it. I mean, I can monetize that mother, right?
Yeah, right. Well, they'll push that agenda.
But it's still super scary.
It is. Oh, it is. But anything can be misused and super scary.
Sure.
Everything.
Sure.
Can. Religion itself.
Oh, no, I got one for you, dude.
Okay.
I got one. I can't wait to tell you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Guy goes into a bar.
When I was growing up, when I was growing up, my mom will hear this and she might even have her feelings hurt. When I was growing up, I used to talk to my mom about, the end of the world and what might happen. And she would always say, there's this thing called the rapture, right? And I'm sure everybody's heard about it,
sure,
the idea that, God comes and takes away everybody and protects the good, if you will, and lets the evil get destroyed by the end of the world,
leaves
right?
us to,
Yeah, leaves you around.
I
get to go up into the clouds.
I felt it.
I get to go in the clouds. You're down here, and I'm like,
know.
Spike, yelling at you, and you're like, fuck you.
We got hookers and blow.
You in your heaven, you can
We've got
kiss my
hookers.
ass.
You've got pie. We've got hookers and blow. Woohoo!
Yeah, you and your clouds can have it. Go get a sunburn, Rob. But she used to say that a lot, and for a long time, simply because I never really bothered actually reading literally just the Bible, let alone what your pastor or anything says, right? Just and granted, assuming the Bible's 100% accurate, which I have no idea if it really is. I just would like to think it is, right? That I'm going to be okay. Right?
Yeah.
So in 1991, I decided to actually do a biblical study. I thought, I want to know what it really says about the end times. And I still don't know everything because it's convoluted and all very puzzling, right? Revelation and anything that attracts to the end times, right, is all very puzzling. But there is one profound thing that it says, and it's in Matthew, which is a gospel, and it says, and it's in 24, and I'm paraphrasing, where it says, immediately after those days, okay? It doesn't mean before. It doesn't mean during. It means after. It says immediately after. These are words that Christ spoke, by the way, according to the Gospels, right? Immediately after those days, I will gather my elect from the four winds, and basically, so that's where the rapture is, okay? That's describing that, okay? Immediately after. The word after is in there, everybody. After. So I wouldn't be surprised if, let's say this thing happens with the RFID chips. Everybody's got one, right? And all the Christians, or the people who believe in something at least, don't take the RFID chips. And then the shit hits the fan and everybody's getting their head cut off. A lot of them are going to bounce. Why? Because they never really believed. And the things they were taught by their parents and the things that they were taught by people, but nothing they ever read, lied to them, right? Well, you're going to get saved. You're going to go to heaven before all that stuff happens. And then, right? And they're going to jump across the fence. They're going to be like, yeah, you guys are following false. You know what I mean? And then we're screwed. We're all screwed. There you go. End of story. and then you just hang up the podcast. Boom. Right there.
No.
No, but I mean, I was like, oh my God, so many people are going to be, if it's real, right? Based on my faith, I would like to believe it. Sure it is. But if it's real, well, I bet you that shit happens. People go like, well, all the things I was told aren't happening, so it must not be real.
Yeah.
Because we, again, going back to all this stuff, whether it's religion or anything else, we like to believe what we like to believe based on what we're told.
Right.
We rarely actually check out anything, which is why the internet is full of people agreeing with things that they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about.
Right.
And I would
But
be
they're
one of them
firm believers.
sometimes
Yeah, me too.
because I don't have enough time to research everything I see.
Right. It's not my job to educate you.
Right.
So before I don't know how much time.
No, we
got.
have plenty of time. So I just wanted to share that.
And that's fair enough.
Sorry, everyone.
Not at all. So I'm on Facebook the other day reading and eavesdropping, because Facebook is just voyeur candy.
Oh, it is.
Oh my God, it's delicious voyeur
Especially
candy.
when you're signed in as somebody else.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. At least he is. So there's a debate about religion in schools, and somebody actually posted, well, how is the words under God, how is that promoting Christianity? I'm like, excuse me? They're like, well, God is a generic term for a higher being. I'm like, is it? Really?
Not in America.
I said, you really think that in the Pledge of Allegiance in school, one nation under God isn't an advocation for Christianity?
Especially during McCarthy's America.
You think?
Which is exactly what
I know. That's when it went in. Sure. Because communists are godless fucks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, so if you're a Muslim kid, just say under God and it's good enough. Shut the fuck up. Mm-hmm. I'm like, really? You really believe that under God is a generic term for a religious belief and doesn't champion a state-endorsed religion?
Yeah, people say, I believe in God. They're talking about Christian God.
Yeah, you think?
At least in America.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
I know. I'm like, dude, you're just delusional.
Yeah.
That's Facebook for you.
Yeah.
Everybody's right.
That's so true. You know what's funny? When I was living in Tonasket in North Central Washington, 964 population, by the way.
Until you moved.
Until I moved. And I believe I checked it last year. I think it's 962.
Yeah, somebody else
Which is
moved.
hilarious. That's 36 years since I've lived there, and it's still under 1,000 people.
7 people left, 6 people came.
Yeah.
Who lost one?
There was a kid, I'll never forget this. I was in 6th grade, and I'm not going to name him because if he hears this,
He
I don't
might
want to
still
offend
be
him.
there.
Yeah. But it was really shocking because, again, I think I shared this before. This was a primarily Caucasian town with a few, native kids and a few Hispanic kids, and that was it, right? But the one thing all of us could agree on is
Nobody liked Steve.
No, Jesus was an American. Right?
Okay.
Is that
Oh my
that philosophy, right? That philosophy.
Yeah.
He's our God.
Yeah,
Right.
you bet.
And I remember it kind of went around. I don't know why, but it was in 6th grade. I remember this very profound, very ferociously. This kid all of a sudden chimes up in the back of the room. He's like, and again, I'm not going to name his name, but he even stated his name. And I'm a proud Buddhist. And I was like, the whole room looked at him like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
What? And who's Buddha? You know what I mean? I remember even thinking like, I've
Buddha's
heard
a defensive tackle for the Baltimore Colts. Buddha Smith.
it's a type of martial
Powerful
art.
man.
But I look back at him, I remember thinking like, I've heard of this, but I don't
Kung
really.
Bu.
Yeah, I
It's
don't,
on TV.
don't really know what it is. But I'm telling you, after that moment happened, I lived in Tonasket for 3 more years. That kid was pretty much ground zero ostracized from that moment on.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because we lived in this town
Sure.
where you are, this is the mold. There
Yeah.
is no other mold. And if you're a man of color, meaning you're darker than any Hispanic family, well, you don't belong. And you are kindly asked to leave the community.
Wow.
At night. Under
shit.
guns.
Under guns.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You can probably just see your way.
under heavy
the
armor.
torchlight ought to help you find your way out of town.
The guys, there's a group of guys that will wear white that will
Yeah.
lead you to
Kind of
victory.
use them, kind of like road cones to show you how the way out of town. Yeah, think of them as human road cones.
Yeah. Not much electricity around here.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy times, man. That's a crazy world.
Well,
and it still exists.
It's crazier now.
Yeah.
But those were the good old days we want to get back to. That's when we want to make America great again. Somebody posted the other day, America, every time Trump says America first, remember that was the slogan of the Ku Klux Klan. I'm like, what? Really? They put up a coin, a Ku Klux Klan token, America first, commemorates the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan.
Oh, my
Like,
gosh.
okay. Whatevs. Everything can be spun and misused and perverted.
Yeah.
That's the Islam hates us. No, dick shits. Islam doesn't hate us. Extremism hates us.
People hate us.
Christianity doesn't hate us. Extremists, blow up. Christianity doesn't blow up abortion clinics.
No.
Doesn't murder abortion doctors. That's not Christianity. That's perversion.
Tells them to stop killing,
Right.
doing abortions.
That's
He doesn't
that's
kill the abortionists.
That's
Yeah.
perversion.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
that's not right.
Yeah.
God, I mean, it's weird times, man. We live in wild times.
Yeah. So how do we end this travesty of a podcast today?
Favorite MASH episode ever?
Ah,
I don't know. Fuck, man.
I
Favorite
watched-
normism from Cheers? I don't know. What? I don't know.
No,
Oh,
don't do
favorite
that crap to
dessert.
me.
Favorite dessert.
Oh,
Okay, I'll tell you. How do we end this? What's your favorite dessert ever, and why?
my mom's raspberry pie.
Why?
Because
She made
it's-
horrible raspberry pie.
Because it's sweet
I'm
and
just
tart.
kidding you. Oh, sweet and tart's good.
Oh, it's so good. God,
Yeah?
it's so good. I don't know how, she actually makes a really effed up pie, but it's so good. Because it's so, it's the
Oh,
crust.
that's adorable.
It's the crust that she makes that's my great grandmother's crust, I guess, or I don't know, a friend of hers, but
So
it has
cool.
vinegar in it. It's
Really?
it's so good.
Oh,
it's
wow.
so flaky and so yummy, and yet, because raspberries are very,
Sure.
very sour, sort of,
Yeah.
she sugars it really nice, so it's just got that bite. It's so good.
Nice.
Oh God, it's so good. But it rots really fast because it's it's
Sure.
very fresh.
Sure.
Got to eat the crap out of it. How about you?
Like a hot fudge sundae.
Really?
With nuts.
Like
Oh,
Vips.
yeah.
Remember Vips?
No, what's a Vips?
VIP restaurant. Or late 60s, early 70s. Vips.
Not on my coast, it wasn't.
Okay. It would have probably
We had
been.
Friendlies was the franchise
it's
chain.
Probably the one. But they had a big hot fudge sundae you could get for $1. It was about 12 inches tall.
Yeah, man.
And just tons of hot
you
fudge.
bet.
And really.
Worst dessert ever?
Worst dessert ever. Any pie with cream.
Really? Not a cream
Yeah,
pie
like,
guy? I love a
no.
cream. I'm a cream pie guy.
Of course you
I like
are.
a cream
You're a
pie.
liberal.
Yeah.